Hey, welcome back, guys. I'm going to be doing a video today on backspacing. I know I told you a couple of videos ago that I did a video on backspacing and it got corrupted, which it did, so it's kind of been getting at me a little bit. I wanted to get it out there because I really think that it's going to be a knowledgeable video. And I'm sure there's going to be people on the internet that has different and better ways of doing it, which is fine, and I have no problem with that. I mean, people that have their own way of doing stuff, I'm all for it. This is just the way I learned how to do it and the way I've done it for years, and it always worked for me. And you got to take into consideration, too, guys, that these companies nowadays, you get a wheel shipped to you from a company, say Summit or Jags. If you mount a tire on that wheel, you own it. They won't take it back. So it's real important to kind of know what you're doing, what the correct measurements are. And like I said, there's probably different ways of doing it, but this is just how I do it. I told you in a past video that I worked for a tire company for 15 years. We had a mobile tire service that we went out on the side of the expressway and fixed semi-tires, went to junkyards, fixed loader tires, went to the farms and did chloride on the tractor tires. And I've also had race cars my whole life too, so I've always did my own tires. And when I buy wheels, I always did my own backspacing and height the wheels and knew what you could run. So there's a couple things that you guys need to know that I think is real important that will help you out when going to forward on getting a wheel. First thing you need to know is that when you open up a Jags book or a Summit book, and you say you're after a 10 or 15 by 10 wheel, and you get it shipped to your house, you open up the box and you measure from outside lip to the inside lip, and it's 11 inches. Well, they don't tell you in the book that when they advertise these wheels in the magazines and it's a 15 by 10, they don't tell you that there's a half-inch bead seat on the front and a half-inch bead seat on the back. And when they measure their wheels for shipping, they measure from bead seat to bead seat, not overall width. So if you get a 10-inch wheel and then you get it shipped to your house, it's 11 inches overall. And that really comes into play when you're trying to measure out for backspacing. And believe me, a long time ago, when I first started doing this, if I didn't have people in high places in the tire company, I would have probably ate one or two sets of wheels. But it is what it is, guys. I mean, they took them back. You know, I knew how to mount them, so I didn't scratch or mar them or anything like that. And I'm also going to be doing another video later on about the offset on wheels, which is similar to backspacing, but it's not. You know, when you get into offset is more like for four-wheel drive trucks, and it's called poke. And that's actually measured in millimeters instead of inches, like for, you know, race car wheels and standard car wheels. But that's going to be a separate video. And as the time goes on, when it gets nice out and I go to put these new wheels that I bought for the El Camino on the car, I'll get into a little bit more in depth and show you more about what I'm talking about. But I made a diagram for now to kind of steer you guys in the right direction and kind of give you, you know, a little bit of know-how on what you need to look for. So let me grab that real quick. Let's see if we can get her up here so you guys can see it good with me here. Okay. Now, the first thing that I do, I get the car up in the air, get it on jack stands, and I'll measure, you know, my wheel opening, just so I know in the back of my head that's your wheel well. And then what you need to do, you got your hub, your mounting face of your hub, where the wheel bolts onto the hub. You want to take a straight edge and run it straight up into your wheel well, so you got a nice straight shot. And then you want to measure off of that to the first place of contact, whether it be a frame rail or the curve where the inner wheel well meets the frame. Usually that's going to be where most of the fitment issues are going to take place, is in that area, in the frame rail. So today we're going to actually, I'm going to be using a 10-inch wheel just for, you know, purpose today of showing you guys. But like I said before, you got 11 inches overall from bead seat. You got a 1/2-inch bead seat here on the front and the rear. And you have a 10-inch. Your 10 inches, they measure from the inside of the bead seat to the inside of the bead seat. And then the overall is your outside diameter to the lip, the outside diameter to the lip, which would be 11 inches overall. So for the purpose of today, whoops, sorry about that, guys. For the purpose of today, we're just going to say, for instance, we ran our straight edge up and we measured from our frame rail to our mounting point on our hub. And let's say we got 5 inches, guys. So we know we got 5 inches to work with. So now when you're going to measure, you know, a lot of guys, they'll try and run it tight, you know. They'll want to take advantage of that full 5 inches. Me, I like to keep a 1/2 inch, you know, for like if you're getting sideways and you're only running 11 pounds of air in it. That way it gives it a little bit of room to flex. And then, you know, it'll give you a 1/2 inch of cushion so you're not tearing up the tire. But, so you take your mounting point, your straight edge, and you measure it from the frame. So we got 5 inches. Okay, so now we know we got a 10-inch wheel, and we can only use 5 inches of that before we run into interference. So we're going to go with the 4.5-inch back spacing. And that's going to give us that 1/2 inch of cushion room. So what that means is you're going to have 4.5 inches from the back side of your wheel to the outside lip of the wheel. And then you're going to have 6.5 inches of front spacing. I call it front spacing, but that's from the mounting point forward. So like if you're on the outside of your car, it's going to kind of look like a deep dish wheel, guys. But if you know, this is just the bare bones way of doing it. And it's always worked for me. Like I said, there's probably going to be guys out there, which I know there's big tire shops that have the, you know, $100,000 tools that can do this. But I don't got that kind of money. And I don't want to go spend $1,000 on a tool that I'm only going to use once in who knows how long. You know, I mean, it ain't like I'm buying wheels all the time. So a straight edge and a ruler or a tape measure is really all you need. And if you understand, you know, what you're looking for inside the wheel wells and the frame, if you know, if you can visualize where your points of contact would be, then it's a piece of cake, guys. It really is. I mean, a lot of people say it, you know, it's frustrating and stuff like that, but it's only as frustrating as you make it. Like I said, you know, it's simple. You know, the mounting surface of the hub, straight up, and then to the first point of contact, you measure to your hub. And that's going to give you an overall, your overall measurement. And then I always take the 0.5 away, 1/2 inch away. That gives me a little bit of cushion. So it's simple, guys. Now, on the front tires, if you're measuring for height, because, you know, most front runners are 4 inches for the drag, you know, the drag wheels. And a lot of them are standard. They come standard with 1.5 inch back spacing, which is, you know, that's just what they do. So, you know, a lot of them they'll clear, you know, unless you got the Willwood brakes or the big 4 caliper or 4 piston brake setup. Then you might have to go to a 17-inch wheel or something like that. But a lot of times the 15 inches, you ain't got to worry about the back spacing for the front. What you do have to worry about is the height of the tire. So if you're running like a 28-10-5 on the back, and a lot of guys, they like to stay close to that. I do. I'm running a 28-10-5 on the El Camino, and I'm going to be running a 27-inch tall on the front. So what you would do on that, you would take, like say, let me see what I did with it. I usually take a piece of wood, similar to this. This is just a paint stick, but I would measure out 27 inches, and then I would drill me a hole, make my center point. You know, you got to have it. You know, you got to be centered, and then you would drill a hole for one stud, and then drill another stud, make sure it's centered, and then you can rotate it around, turn full turn, say full turn to the drivers, turn it to make sure that it ain't going to hit, full turn to the passenger, and do the same thing and see if it's going to hit. Because a lot of times these guys, they'll mess up on the height of their tires for the front. They'll order them, mount them on the wheel, and put them on the car, and then first time they go to turn, they run into interference, and then, you know, like I said, these companies, you mount them, you own them. But like I said, I'm going to be doing another video on the millimeter, the offset of wheels also, which is going to be for your 4-wheel drive trucks. And, you know, a lot of guys, they like to run a lot of poke, it's called, where they got a lot of wheels sticking outside of the wheel well, and stuff like that. Myself, I like to run very little poke on my 4-wheel drives, you know, barely sticking out. You know, I don't like the mud and rocks and all the other excess shit all over my truck. And the rain or the snow, I mean, it just covers it. But that's just me. I mean, different strokes for different folks. I mean, if that's something you like, that's something you like. I mean, who am I to judge? But like I said, that's going to be a separate video, guys. I just wanted to get the bare bones of the backspacing. And like I said, I will be going in more in depth when I go to put it on the car, and I'll actually show you the measurements and get in depth of the wheel hub and the hub on the car and where it interferes with the frame and the wheel well, and actually show you more in depth then. But until then, I figured, you know, it's been bugging me about wanting to get this video out because the last one got corrupted. But I figured this is a start, and you know, if somebody wants to go and try it, if they're looking to buy a set of wheels, this will work if you follow them instructions. But until then, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell button for new notifications. And we'll catch you next time, guys. Keep them hot rods on the road. Thanks, and bye-bye.